Now let's move to the main problem which we have in tourism, hospitality industry in Georgia. The first main problem is that the major part of Georgian tourist potential isn't fully used. We have the lack of knowledge of motivators, not we, but people who are the main figures in hospitality industry have the lack of knowledge of motivators that impact on tourist decisions, and also we have the lack of research in the fields. We all know that research involves, demands a big amount of money, and people in hospitality industry don't want to spend enough, a big amount of money on research. And the last one is that we have the lack of qualified personnel in the tourism industry. So let's move to the goals of our surveys. The first one is to find out the main problems and contribute to solve them, to increase the number of tourists, to increase the quality of tourist satisfaction, to make them more satisfied, and to define precisely the factors that impact on visitors. Next slide. Here are the stages of the works done. First, we define the problem. After that, we developed a questionnaire, then distributed questionnaires to tourists. After that, we sorted and processed information. And the last step was that we analyzed the results, outcomes, and made conclusions. So here are some questions from my questionnaire. The main questions, I think, and most important questions. And I'm not going to read all the numbers and percentages. I'm just going to figure out the main factors from each question. So the age of the majority of interviewed people was between 45 and 64. 60% of respondents were ladies. Next slide. Main reason for visiting Georgia was holiday or leisure, followed by business trips. Next slide. 60% of interviewed people find out about the destination via internet, so it means that social media marketing had a vital importance in hospitality industry, because people know about destination with the help of internet. Next slide. So visiting Georgia, when we asked the tourists if they were planning to visit Georgia again or not, 15% of them gave negative answers, and it's quite pity. More than half of them, 55%, said that they don't know whether they will come back or not. Next slide. When we asked them what do they like most, the majority of them were fascinated. The majority of them answered that they were fascinated by country's authentic culture and the rich history. The percentages are equal, like 35%. And only 15% of respondents didn't have any communication problems, and the other ones had, and the results is not so good, I think. Next slide. When we asked them, it was an open question. We asked them what they would like to improve, and common answers were like this. The first position took language barrier. After that, cleanliness, followed by transportation and lack of nightlife. Now we're moving to analyze this part. After conducting survey, we analyzed the outcomes, and it turned out that we got different answers from different age groups. Most of interviewed people who had language barrier problem were older ones, while percentage indicator is rather lower among youngsters. The majority of young interviewed people claimed about the following problems: lack of nightlife, cleanliness in the streets, and the lack of road signs. And rather old people declared about transportation problem. And respondents who were not visiting Georgia for their first time said that their main motive for arriving in my country wasn't leisure or quality, and that's not a good. Yeah. And a big number of residents who were visiting country for the holidays refused coming back there again, and their age was more than 65. Only 5% of interviewed people declared that their purpose of visit was education. Now, me and my team developed recommendations based on the outcomes and results of the research, and here they are. The first our recommendation is to improve language skills. We're giving this recommendation to the owners, for example, to the hotels, to the bars, to the restaurants. They should have some language courses to get their employees more qualified. The second recommendation is about making transportation more accessible. Also putting sufficient information about destinations and transport schedules on the internet. I think that for this government and also Georgian National Tourism Agency is responsible for this problem. Also they should solve logistic problems connected with transportation, and it's also a responsibility of government. And they should resolve sanitary problems, as interviewed people declare that roads are not clean enough, and effective cooperation between private and local government is a kind of must. Now, I'm moving to the next part of my presentation. It's social media marketing, and the main purpose of this research was identifying the main problems and weaknesses of this social network. Here are the database of the hotels which I researched. First I checked if they had websites, and after that I researched those websites in details. Like I checked the content of the websites, like for example if they had telephone numbers of the website, if they had booking system there, if they had Facebook address put on the websites, and if they had it, I hit plus in the graph. If they don't, I click minus. I put minus. All in all, I searched 10 hotels. Yeah. Move to another. As Facebook, so I started social media marketing research, but as I mentioned above, I haven't finished it yet. Not I, but me and my team, we haven't finished it yet. We're in the process. So far, as I mentioned, we searched only 10 hotels, and here is Facebook analyzes about hotels. 100% of hotels have their own Facebook pages. More than half of these reviewed hotels have everyday activities on the Facebook pages, like they're posting, sharing, and they're communicating with their followers. 1/3 of hotel Facebook pages activate only on special occasions. So, I mean, if they have events, if they have new offers, they can suggest customers. If they have a reorganization of their company or something like this, only in those cases they activate, they start acting on the Facebook pages. And the rest of the hotels refresh their pages with big intervals, which is really pity. Some hotels do not have the evaluation function activated. Evaluation function, I mean, customers, they don't have possibility, customers, to estimate, to evaluate their Facebook page from 1 to 5 stars. Customers' letters instantly and carefully respond to only few pages, unfortunately, including Lobota Resort and Rooms Hotel Kazbegi. All in all, this situation in Georgia concerning to Facebook analysis is not satisfying. As we know, Facebook is the leading social network and the best marketing tool to communicate with your customer and to have effective communication with your customer. But in Georgia, they don't use it effectively, unfortunately. Here is the Twitter analysis about hotels. I would like to point out that Twitter is not a common social media in Georgia. 40% of research hotels are registered on the social network, but they don't do anything there. They're just registered. Next slide. And this is TripAdvisor. This is a great. This site, TripAdvisor site, is a great gives hotels a great possibility to be evaluated by customers and gives hotel owners to know recommendations, to know assessments by customers. And as it is really efficient network, the majority of research hotels use it, 80%. But and mostly hotels have positive assessments. But in most cases, there are photos uploaded in photo gallery by customers, and the pictures are not clear enough. They are vague, and I recommend them to upload more photos which have better visual. And once again, I want to point out that it's not the whole research of my social media marketing. I'm going to research and so 10 restaurants, yeah, and 10 museums are left for research. So that was what my presentation about. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
So first of all, I liked the presentation because it was clear, the charts were clear, and it was very easy to follow and everything. So you presented a lot of material very efficiently. Not too many colors, not too much, it was fine. Given that I read, the question I ask is, you have the survey and your social media research. I also read that you are PhD students.
No, I'm a master student.
Master student, and there was one PhD student.
Yeah, involved in the process.
So I'm going to be a bit more strict with you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to be a bit more strict. It's okay that you use descriptive statistics. So you're saying that many percent, or that much percent, and that much percent. It would be interesting to make correlations between, for example, age groups, between, did you have nationalities, different nationalities?
That question was open in the questionnaire, but they just skip it. Tourists just skip it. They didn't fill it, I don't know why.
Because I can imagine the nationality plays a role, whether they have language problems or not language problems. Because I can imagine if someone, for example, speaks Russian, they won't have communication problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they speak English. So I think in order to get more from your numbers, you would need to
be more specific. Yeah.
The association between the different types of questions, because you're asking, did you like this? Did you like that? To what extent this? Did you have this problem? And it would be interesting to know how the answers to those things relate to the characteristics of the respondent. And this is something I would expect from master or PhD students. So this is my next my recommendation. Regarding the social media itself, I think it's also very interesting because the data is there. And it's a very, very rich and easy source to access. But again, the question is, what do you make with it? How do you actually break down? What do you look at? How do you compare between the different sources? If you're talking about pictures, what is a good picture, what is not a good picture. So when you are analyzing, my recommendation is always define very tightly your point of analysis. And the last point, again, you have two pieces of research. How do they relate to one another? How do they complement each other? I don't see the, how do you call it? It's like two pieces, but I would like to see a connection.
Maybe add this correlation suggestions that if you want to make a correlation with such a little bit more complicated analysis, you have to think why. What it will show you. Not because I would say on the case of Slovakia, everybody is doing correlations and this very sophisticated statistics, mostly on master and PhD studies. But if it will not show you something that you can use in the future, it's a waste of time. So not only think about doing the statistics, but also how to use the results. Just to add statistics.
So once more, it was also cool, and what I really liked is that you start to break it. So that you speak, let's say, of a channel, and then you break it into criteria. And I just had a question. What was your main goal of this survey?
Of the survey of...
it was social media.
Social media survey?
Social media.
I think that I should have written there also recommendations to give to Georgian social media users like this. But as far as it's not completed yet, I haven't written yet. So giving recommendations was kind of cool.
So if I can give you a hint, I would separate between Facebook and Twitter. In my opinion, it's something else than TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a channel for evaluating, a meta channel. Facebook is something else. And so the questions are also going in different directions. So perhaps it's still possible for you to make two groups, booking channels, evaluating channels, and something like Facebook. Because up to now in Germany, Facebook and Twitter is not interested in booking. We are speaking of 1 or 2% producing hotel bookings. So perhaps you can still go on this way. But very cool and very safe.
My feedback is concerning the positive points similar. Very good structure, presentation, and you make clear what you want to research. I didn't quite understand why you choose the title Motivation Study. What I was understanding is that you were serving the infrastructure quality and some aspects. So I was expecting something else when you said motivation study. Motivation means, for me, the motivation of the people. What reason are they coming to the location and something like that, and what do they expect? But that wasn't the point you made, I think. So think again about the title of your research at this point. I think it was a good thing to relate the data concerning the age groups. So maybe not correlations are the answer to relate them, but you could use cross tables too to see which age groups are what answers. So you're more detailed in the interpretation. Your recommendations, I think they were well based on the analysis concerning this part of the research. And concerning the social media analysis, I missed too a little bit the research question and the criteria that were here used to analyze the websites. So that has to be first made clear, otherwise the results fall from the sky and you don't know what is the purpose of the research. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Небольшое объявление. Пожалуйста, передайте Алисе Игоревне.
Уважаемые коллеги, мы сейчас сделаем перерыв на обед, но я сразу хочу сказать информация ко всем. После обеда мы должны заполнить, пожалуйста, все воркшопы с 1, 2, 3, 4. Иначе мы будем сегодня работать до тех пор, пока мы не составим списки.
Now we will have the lunch break, but we beg you to write the list of participants in our workshops after lunchtime.
Всем приятного аппетита!
Bon appétit!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are students from GTTU, and we would like to introduce our presentation with my friend Anna, and I am Toko. So, overview of today's presentation. Concept of students' field research in GTTU, situational analysis, goal and objectives of research, methods of research, results, conclusions, and recommendations. Students' field research was planned as a part of GT2 research scope, sustainable destination management and quality of life, for students' involvement in GT2 research, for gain first-hand experience and knowledge about the people and processes that we study, considering recommendations of project coordinator, Professor Schaper, experts Professor Kucherova, Professor Fuchs, Dr. Balch agreed during monitoring visit at GTTU. Students' field research acting plan, trainings with students. Concept of sustainability of destination and its management, stakeholders initiatives, primary and secondary research methods, tutor sessions, research goal and objectives, determination of target groups, composition of questionnaires, improve questionnaires, pretest of questionnaires, improve questionnaires, fieldwork, analysis, and conclusions. Background of research. The tourist industry is criticized for its unsustainable exploitation practices of environment, local culture and population. To achieve greater sustainability in the tourist industry, only possible via sustainability of tourist destinations. Background of research. This research shows all developing countries are interested in fast development of tourism have similar problems and mistakes regarding sustainability of destinations, such as top-down tourist planning, lack of community involvement, lack of stakeholders initiatives, lack of holistic approaches regarding sustainability, creating a balanced, responsible and viable development of tourism within a destination, one-size profit orientation and so on. What's correspondence between declared and observed? What's declared? To ensure sustainable tourist development and increase awareness of Georgia as a unique tourist destination on the international market, to continue increasing the number of tourists directly impacting the development on the country's economy. So what's observed? Little commitment to particular destinations, unsustainable planning of physical elements, lack of researches about tourism, impact on Tbilisi environment, lack of educational programs, little action for awareness raising and implementation of sustainable initiatives, the industry's strong motivation of short-term profit maximization instead of long-term sustainability. As you know, this is complex of sustainable destination management. So we are focused on sustainable policy development, strategy, action and plan, resident satisfaction and visitor satisfaction. Why Tbilisi? Tbilisi's significant and diverse geographical, historical and cultural heritage assets have vast potential for the development of sustainable tourism. It's a main destination and we took it as a pretext. So, goal of field research, enunciate problems of sustainable destination management. What's objectives? Comprehensive policy, strategy, actions toward destination sustainability. Research resident satisfaction from sustainability of destination. Research tourist satisfaction by destination initiatives and efforts regarding sustainability. So what is tasks? Select destination, define target groups for investigation, write effective survey questions for each group, understand survey distribution options, data collection, interpret survey data, qualitative data analysis, quantitative data analysis, and report survey findings. The problem is to know what the problem is. On the slide you can see target groups and what we want to know from them. First is public sector, attitude towards destination sustainability, policy, strategy, actions, Residents, are they satisfied and benefit from tourism in their destination? And tourists, are they satisfied by destination initiatives and efforts to achieve sustainable tourism? So, what's methods? Primary. The focus is on qualitative research. This means that a part of the information was collected through in-depth interviews, online, website links, social media links, sampling, and generalization. Format of questions. Closed-ended questions, dichotomous, the Likert type, forced choice, rating scale ranked, open-ended questions, and basic demographic questions too. We try to avoid common research pitfalls, setting fuzzy objectives, assuming respondents are as interested in our surveys as we are. Low complex questions, leading questions, jargons, or abbreviations and words with double meaning and so on. Analysis. We reduce large amount of data, we display it in charts, notes and tables, we make sense of it. Statistical analysis of numbers, content analysis of words, statistical significance, response rate, number of responses divided by number of surveys distributed. Deduct undeliverable surveys. Making sense of words. For each question, we read all answers. Look for patterns and clusters, code similar statements. Count clusters of similar statements. Select typical quotes. Wrote summary. Do the same for the next question. Making sense of numbers. Count, average, note patterns and clusters. Note most frequent responses. Cross-tabulate to compare variables. Check statistical significance and write summary. We have not faced big challenges, but anyway, this sounds much easier than it is in practice. Does not offer as much flexibility to respond to new topics that are posed during the interview. Interviewer fatigue, engaging in a dialogue, one-way conversation. Unfortunately, many interviewers spend more time talking than listening to the interviews. We do not know how to stop them. Lack of future view, unwillingness to answer on open questions, non-responses from tourist companies, and the weather in July. Next, please. So we had 445 questionnaires, and you can see with the questionnaires was 113, residence questionnaires 400, and questionnaires for public sector 50. Next, please. And the next step of our research is tourist enterprises questionnaires, and my friend Anna continues next part of our presentation and speaks about the results of our survey. Thank you for it.
Hi everyone, as my friend Tonika said, I will go on presentation. So, sustainable destination management, subject of research, public sector approaches towards sustainable management of Tbilisi destination. As you see, there is three number of organizations: GNTA, Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources Protection of Georgia, the Agency of Protected Areas, Department of Ecology and Planting of Greenery of Tbilisi Municipality. Here, as you see, we chose 50 respondents by method of sampling. So we were collecting data by other ways. Normative indicators, opinion-based indicators, invitation to participate was made in different ways: covered letter, handy questionnaire, email. As you see, our questionnaire consists with 26 questions. There is open-ended yes or no ranking, multi-choice. Of course, we've had some challenges. Telephone response rates are falling, mailing times, delaying the data collection process, response rates were disappointing, quality of answers or responsible approach unwillingness to explain. Next, please. Destination policy and actions. As you see in answers, 0% is explanation, 64 is no, and 36 is yes. Next, please. Public sector survey, destination policy and actions. There are our questions, and as you see, most of our answers are no. Just 4 is yes. And now I want to read in which questions we get yes and in which questions we get no. So yes, policy place promoting the purchase and use local sustainable fair products of and service. Policy of protecting and enhancing cultural heritage. Participate in climate change adaptation strategy. Policies in place that require tourism enterprise to minimize the light and noises pollution. So, what about no? We don't have, unfortunately, DMO, Sustainable Tourist Strategy or Action Plan with agreed monitoring, development and evaluation arrangement, tourist attractions, accessibility for people with special needs, requirements of SCA as part of law regulation of tourism, sustainable tourist destination criteria indicators, tourist companies initiatives, central or local government research of resident satisfaction by tourists. Next, please. Initiatives of central local government. As you see, there is one question from our questionnaire. Please mark initiatives of central or local government towards support and promote sustainability of Tbilisi destination. As you see, we have got 3 answers: website, leaflets, brochures, information centers, and trainings. As you see, we have no action plans, guidelines, public events, and others. Public sector survey, enterprises, development and communities participation. Here are 2 important questions. First is, please evaluate involvement of Tbilisi tourist enterprises in the development of sustainable destination. And second is, please evaluate participation of communities within your destination in the development of sustainable destination. As you see, we in both cases we got the lowest point. Public sector survey. There is public sector survey, open-ended question in which we have not answers. How many second rental houses are in your destination? How many residents are directly employed by tourism? What is the total geographic area designated as protected within the destination? What is the total geographic area covered by biodiversity? Yes, and so. In your opinion, the next question was, in your opinion, what is more relevant for ensure sustainability of Tbilisi as a tourist destination? As you see, most of all answered environment, and just 3 of them answered social. Nobody answered economic, ethical, or other. Next, please. There are conclusions. Research shows that Tbilisi is not managed considering sustainable destination management principles. Destination has not a sustainable tourist strategy or action plan with agreed monitoring, development, and evaluation arrangement. Destination has not DMO. Tbilisi tourist attractions are not accessible for people with special needs. Requirement of SCA is not a part of law regulation of tourism. Tbilisi is not managed considering the UNWTO GTSC ATIC criteria indicators. Public sector does not know tourist companies' initiatives towards Tbilisi. Environment, social, economic, and cultural sustainability. Central local government does not provide research of resident satisfaction by tourists in destination. Public sector representatives are not well informed about destination management issues. There is next conclusion. Central local government initiatives towards support and promote sustainability of Tbilisi destination are websites, leaflets, brochures, informational centers, trainings, but they have not action plans, database of sustainability procurement, code of conduct, guidelines, sustainability criteria, and so on. Public sector representatives marked environmental sustainability as more relevant for issues sustainability of Tbilisi. They did not consider not social, economic, neither ethics sustainability as relevant. Public sector representatives evaluate involvement of Tbilisi tourism industry sector in issues of sustainability development of destination is 1 point the lowest. Next conclusion, a destination cannot successfully implement the principles of sustainable tourism strategy without the right laws and regulations in place. Especially more seems to be the land use planning in the current conditions of a high number of constructions. Where are significant, sorry I can't spell this word well, portion of which are in contradiction with area development plans. Local government should have a role not only in setting the direction for, but also in promoting sustainable tourism objectives within the destination. Now recommendations. Comprehend destination sustainability importance via trainings, close cooperation with academicians, NGOs. Unavoidable government regulations are there, and enforcement based on improved criteria indicators. Urgent building of DMO creates vision and guidelines for sustainable destination development that involves engage and empowers stakeholders. Organize multi-stakeholders action planning forum, provide strong leadership and strategic tourism expertise to support local regional destination. Facilitate strategic destination planning process. That's all, and thanks for attention. Sorry for my English, please. It was my first time.
So, thank you very much for your presentation. I think it again was excellent, especially concerning the derivation of your research questions. I like very much how you build up your research question on the background analysis and analysis of the state of the art. That was quite clear and making transparent how you came to these research questions. And I think this is a pretty important point that our research questions in this area of tourism market research are not only derived from practical research questions, but also what is the state of the art in the market research concerning these topics. So I think that was done well. I liked also that you made really explicit how you derived your research methods and made clear what decisions you made here. That was good too. I have nevertheless two questions, and one question and one recommendation. When you presented the results concerning the research of the questionnaire concerning the public sector people, you said that you interviewed 15 people, but there are missing some other information about this sample. So it's good that you named the number, but it would be interesting from where are they from which organizations or institutions. Maybe you could answer that first.
Sure. So, yes, there were 15 respondents, but I want to say that they were experts in this field. And we were interested in opinion of the experts, because they have competence in this field.
Because that's a point. You have to know a little bit more about the experts. What are the characteristics of these experts? So that you should say it.
They are from different organizations.
Okay. And the next point is your results concerning where you said these questions were answered yes, and those questions are answered no. What is the criteria when you said these are no questions or no answer, and these are yes answer? I'm missing there a little bit kind of the central tendency indice you used there. Was it the percent of answers that was said yes in this case concerning one item that you decided these are the yes question? Or how did you decide it? I hope I made clear my question.
Can you show these questions?
Yes.
We can show these questions.
Yes. Yes or no? Yes. This slide.
As you said, here are different questions and answers.
You asked 15 people, and did they all say yes, answered yes to the question when it is marked yes, and did they all say no?
It's average. It's average answers from them. Average answers.
But we don't have form,
We did not interview for demo.
You did not
Interview demo destination management organizations.
And the next slide, or another one, excuse me.
So this is over the result. Obviously.
And the next further slide. Oh, no. The results concerning the Likert scale you showed, low and high.
So.
Okay. This one, yes.
You mean this?
I mean this one. There is missing also central tendency indice. Or how did you examine the answers in this case? Is it an interpretation of your?
There's not all answers. Most of them answer to one point of the two questions. And this is average.
This is the rating rate that most of the people marked. Okay.
From what it seems to me, I mean, I also liked the way you described what you want to do. So you started and you went all the way. But when it came to doing it, you're mixing qualitative and quantitative approaches. You wrote in one that your sample was a purposeful sample. And you mentioned the word non-probability in your presentation, if I'm correct. Yes? Now this means that if you are quantifying, it's not really helping you. Because it's not random sample. It's not random sample. It means that you could ask another 15 people, you could get something totally different. So the question, I mean, I think what you try to do is you define a few criteria for sustainability, and you went and said, okay, we have this tick, 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 tick. Yeah? Then like a score. Am I correct or not? Yes? But this score is a qualitative one, so you're using numbers to describe something which is not in numbers. So I think it's important for you to at some point to decide, do I want to do the numbers, or do I want to go and understand what's going on? Because you're mixing both. So you can either say, I look at the numbers and see what I need to learn more, and then you talk to experts, or you talk to experts and they say something, and you want to say, well, I want to check if they're right. And then you do your numbers. But doing it all at once in this is a bit problematic, because you do a little bit here and a little bit there. It's better to do one thing completely and then the next one. So my advice to you would be, the concept is fine, and I like your topic, and I like how you went on about it. My suggestion and my advice would be, take one step at a time. Start either do this completely and then come to the next one. Not in parallel, because you do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Thank you for your advice.
Okay, then I think that it was a misunderstanding from my side, because it's qualitative data and you presented it as quantitative data. That's a problem, I think, maybe. And the last point is with reference to your conclusions. I sometimes had the idea when you came to the conclusion that they are already recommendations, so you have to differentiate a little bit more. What can you conclude from your data more precisely, and what are recommendations for the experts and the responsible people?
1 minute, please. You can show.
So when you read those conclusions here, they are already recommendations. I think. The conclusions on the first slide, they are okay.
Just a small hint. The same for me. You structured it, gave us a red thread, it's perfect here, and you gave recommendations in the end. So well done. One hint for the future, if you make once more presentations for the professors or your teachers, is PowerPoint is a little bit tricky, a tricky tool. So what I recommend to you is not to read directly what you have on the slides. If you read and read and read, I start sleeping. So the hint for you for the future and also for you as students is as follows. You make some chunks on the slide, let's say 7 chunks or 5 chunks, it doesn't matter. And then you take your own words and speak of this. But you should never go there and then say conclusions, destination, you know what I want to say? So it's a sort of information overload. So take care of PowerPoint, it's tricky. Yeah?
Plus you're young people, you are a lot better looking than the PowerPoint. So we'd rather look at you than the PowerPoint.
PowerPoint is boring, you know, so you are on your own. Take a look.
We need the PowerPoint because we're ugly, but you don't. I know. Thank you very much.
I think your research is qualitatively understood as quantitative was one way because you can use these results if you take into consideration something as precondition for future, maybe don't image of using or something like that, like rating criteria or some other qualitative research. Because now you know what these people, experts from different organizations think, and you can more focus on using qualitative research based on certain criteria. Do you understand? So it's a good precondition for future research.
So my friends continue the next part of our presentation, and they will speak about another results of our survey. Thank you.
My
want to introduce myself. I'm Sopol, from a student of Guram Tower School of Teaching University. And today I talk about resident survey results. Our subject of research, resident satisfaction with tourism in Old Tbilisi. Number of residents was 400. We made data collection, opinion-based indicators, and type of interview was face-to-face. Our questionnaires consist 15 questions. We had different type questions, for example, yes, no, liker, tipping liker, and multi-choice. Also, we have challenges. People needed many explanation was what is sustainability, what is destination. Quality of answer was disappointed. Unwillingness to answer, and climate was very hot days in July. Now I'll discuss some questions and answers from the questionnaires. Gender was more male than females. Residence age was from 50 to 49. And on the questions, if they satisfied with tourism in this destination, most of residents say that fully agree with this. Questions, their benefit for community from tourism and the tourist visiting and destination, and overall if they are very satisfied with residents' involvement and influence in the planning and development of tourism. Their attitude was neutral. And question 5, their benefits for themselves from tourism and tourist visiting in this destination. Residents' answer was strongly disagree. Questions 7 and 8, in their opinion, what kind of effects does tourism have on the distinctiveness and local identity, culture and heritage of your destination? And their opinion, what kind of effect does tourism have on the quality of life in this destination? Residents think that it helps improve this. We are interested in residents' opinion. We're interested in residents' opinion, what is the positive impact of tourism in this destination, and residents strongly agreed that great improvement opportunities, and tourism makes them proud to be a Tbilisi citizen. And also we asked residents what is negative impact of tourism in their destination, and a huge number of residents think that tourism damages natural environment and it's intrudes their life. According to the survey, our respondents mainly were students and full-time employed. We discussed some questions of our questionnaires, and in conclusion, I can say that research show contradictory attitude of residents. 52% respondents are satisfied with tourism in their destination. 39% strongly agree that there are benefits for the community from tourism and tourists visiting their destination, but 71.4% strongly disagree that they have benefit for themselves from tourism and tourists visiting their destination. 55% agree that tourism creates employment opportunities. 27% agree that tourism makes Tbilisi more interesting and exciting. 31% lots of economic benefits. Despite of overall positive attitude to tourism in the destination, 43% of respondents think that tourism damaged natural environment. 23% that tourists increase little on their streets. And also we have some recommendations. For example, explore ways to make residents feel more involved in decision-making regarding tourism in their destination. Explore ways for increased satisfaction with community informal meeting and discussions with residents. Research shows that residents are not habituated to participate in surveys regarding tourism. Therefore, we recommended central or local governments to start working with locals. High rate of responses neutral tell us that residents don't consider themselves as stakeholders. Therefore, it is necessary to raise their awareness towards tourism policy, planning activities in destination, and contradictory responses show that local community is not informed about tourism impact on the destination. Therefore, it is necessary to provide them with relevant information about sustainability. And now, Leka Kofi, please. Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn. I am Leka. And now I will continue talking about visitor survey. And our subject of research was visitor satisfaction in all cruise destinations. And the number of residents was 113. And our technique of research was face-to-face interview and opinion-based indicators. Questionnaires consist of 24 questions, and it was combined. For example, yes, no, Likert, multi-choice, open-ended questions, and other. What about challenges? I can say that we had no challenges because every tourist was very friendly. They answered with very warm, and listened us with enthusiasm. Of course, we research visitors' home countries, and the most of them we are from Poland. It's 17%. The second place has Latvia. It's 10%, and the second place is Ukraine, and it's 6%. And now our survey shows us that 41% tourist age was from 26 to 49, and 34% was from 18 to 25. And according to the survey, 87% of tourists were first visit, and for 10% it was their second visit, and for 3% it was fifth visit. With it, 48% of visitors were going to stay in this destination 6 nights, and for 25% were going to stay 2 nights. We also asked the visitors if Tbilisi has or is well kept, cleaning, attractive attraction, direction signs, physical facilities, and a huge number of them agreed with us strongly. And our visitors' opinion about staff and prices was very right, because 74% of visitors think that staff are quick to react, will inform to answers on questions of visitors. Visitors are made to feel welcome, and others. And what about prices? 53% of tourists think that prices are reasonable and there is no discrimination, price discrimination at the site. And others, and also we are interested in their daily spending, and according to the answers, 48% of visitors' daily spending is from 25 to 50 euro. And about getting information, 67% of visitors think that there is availability of brochures in English, of attractions. There is need to have guides in order to obtain relevant explanation, but 33% of tourists think that there are no information about forbidden and limited behaviors and attractions are provided. And we asked the visitors to rate the following destination. Next slide, please. Features on scale on next. Yes. We asked the visitors to rate the following destination features on scale of 1 to 5, and 5-point codes, restaurants and eating facilities, overall appearance, value for money, accessibility, interesting history and culture, and sensory and countryside. Next slide. And the most important question for us. Next. Am I satisfied with my visit to CruiseT? And with the result, I'm very proud because 64% strongly agree, 21% just agree, 2% was neutral, and 13% disagree. With it, the survey shows us that 45% of visitors want to come back for another holiday, and 30% don't want. Tourists, 41% disagreed that destination takes the special needs of visitors with disabilities into consideration in all areas of its operation, but 40% was neutral and 60% strongly agreed. And now the last question, with unbelievable results. Our question was, are you aware of the sustainability efforts and initiatives in this destination? And all of them, 100% answered no. And finally, why we want to be visitors satisfied, because satisfaction is a key indicator of the performance of the destination. And in conclusion, 47% were first in policy, 45% of them going to back on other holidays, 67% think that there is availability of brochures in English of the attraction, foreign language leaflets are helpful, but 33% think that there are no information about forbidden and limited behaviors. And my recommendations. It's that attractions must be accessibility, tourists should be well informed, and prices must be relevant, and good relationships between tourists and residents. For today, that's all. Thank you for your attention.
So, thank you again for the clear and transparent presentation of your research approach and results. I have just a small recommendation concerning the presentation of the results with the residents. Maybe you show the slide again, the first results slide. Residents. These are the visitors. Yes, the next one. Go back. Result. After the demographics, the first, this one. Okay, I think this kind of presentation of the results is too much detailed and not very good to see how things fit together, because I think you shouldn't dictate the questions and then present the data for the grades, answer grades. Should do it the reverse. The questions are, and then you show in one graphic or element of the graphic the answers for the different grades. And it's rather a little bit detailed. Depends a little bit on the objectives you want to follow, but it would be better if you analyze the central tendency, like a mean or how the answers show variance, so you can see in one view what is the central tendency of the answers. That would be my recommendation, optimizing the presentation of the data. And maybe a little one, the next recommendation is that your recommendations you made at the final point, they should be a little bit more based on the data. So again, this point I mentioned already at the other presentations. So you can follow why is this, you have to explain why did you come to this recommendation, and that should be based on the data. Yes, thank you.
This question on visitors, if they are aware of unsustainability in the future. Most of them or everybody said no. Yes. So it's maybe a good point for you that visitors don't know what sustainability is. Because in the BBC and in the capitals, everybody should be aware of coming to the stage. And there are, I think, just 5% of soft tourists who maybe can more think about if it is unsustainable or sustainable. In the future, maybe you can do more deeply research to criteria, what are signs of unsustainability lights, because maybe if you ask them, what do you think? Is there too much of lights, not too much of dirt, too much of something? Maybe they would say, yes, it is. And then in the final results, we will find out that maybe it is not very sustainable way. But it's it was very interesting to add this question in your questionnaire.
One hit in the end, you wrote, we are very satisfied with tourism. So I don't know whether you have done it in the background, but it's also important to break it up. Because what's now the recommendations? Is tourism good or bad, or what can we do? So it makes also sense to say we are satisfied, like, for example, with the hotels, or with the restaurants, or with the theaters, or whatever. You know what I want to say? We have to break it up to make it more detailed, so to win recommendations. But perhaps we have done it and we didn't see it, I don't know.
It was just overall satisfaction.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Следующая презентация по летним школам представит Кавказский международный университет.
My name is I'm from Georgia, Caucasus International University, Faculty of Business. I'm so happy because I'm involved in this great project. challenge for me, lots of experience, and I want to develop. This is my main team members. So Georgia belongs to the category of countries which has universal potential of tourism development in almost all fields, including cruise tourism. At present, the development of tourism in Georgia looks quite disordered. The lack of qualified staff and the lack of long-term planning in the tourist sector slows down the development of tourism in the country. In such situation, it's difficult to develop cruise tourism. It is important to integrate Georgia in a wide variety of cruise tourist market, to work together to revive the Black Sea and the construction Batumi port. Our mission and purpose. The aim of research is to get to know Georgia's tourist facilities, hotels, museums, restaurants, souvenir shops and wine stores. The study is based on tourists and consumers' opinions. The main objective was creating a group of students in order to study the problem better. Pace of work. In this study, 50 students were involved. The team working show us a picture of situation in Tbilisi, Kakheti region, and in the mountainous region, Svaneti Mestia. I had my holiday in Mestia, Svaneti region, so I decided to research this region. Mestia is a highland homeland at an elevation of 1,500 meters. So, methodology of research. The survey was conducted with this specially prepared form which was amended by the project coordinators of European Commission. The survey was conducted face-to-face interviews, web interviews, telephone interviews, and chat interviews. So I wanted to say Mr. Shopper, Mr. Czech, we wanted to saw better what situation was in restaurant. We've been in restaurant, so we were surprised that everything was the same. So this is picture, our picture with communication with tourists in Tbilisi. This is picture of Svaneti Mestia. Communication with tourists were the most fun, memorable, and we got a lot of experience. So, information sources. The first information sources are the tourists. As a result, we received a comprehensive survey of their opinions. No less important was our own and our friends' observation, staff members' survey in the tourist facilities. From hotel, are noteworthy Continental Crown Palace Hotel Tbilisi, which staff was really good at, and we received detailed answers about the hotel. It should be noted how big effort had the director of Svaneti Museum to perform our job well. So, simple collected materials. We had research in difficult conditions, 40-degree heat in the summer, lots of work. Despite the many obstacles, the survey was positively evaluated by the European experts, Yana Kucherova and Natalie Balch. So, Tbilisi. Tourism in Tbilisi is developing gradually. It had not yet reached a high level, but had a marked number of tourists coming into the country and its big economic incomes. Our studies have shown that the majority of tourists don't like the hotel prices and prices of meal in restaurant. 90% of respondents agree that the streets are too polluted. You can see this picture. They like the old architecture and food prices in the market. So, Mestia. Mestia is most suitable for so-called rural tourism. This type of tourism involves tourists received into the villages or directly to families. In this case, the tourists have the opportunity to learn more about the lifestyle of the local population, learn about the nature of sightseeing, see the historical, cultural, ethnographic monuments, and have active rest. However, the negative effects will be taken under consideration. For example, overloading the region by the excess number of tourists will cause a significant environmental pollution and maybe have an adversely affect on biodiversity. Our studies have confirmed that same, and 90–80% of respondents have a negative factor in the streets of uncleanness. So, analysis of results. Hotels, tourist factors. We interviewed 150 tourists, and the results we are following. 77% of tourists had good evaluated staff member service of quality. 35% of tourists like service price in terms of paying. 55% of tourists said that they will give recommendation to other people, and 58% of tourists said that staff members quickly react about problems. This is a restaurant in Tbilisi, has more negative assessment. We interviewed 200 tourists, and you see on diagrams of results, 45% of tourists has more negative assessment of restaurant design, and 75% of service of quality they can apply. Price of meal is 70%. Assortment of meal is 75%. So look at this diagram. Since the restaurant in Mestia has more positive assessment. This is hotel staff members in Tbilisi. We interviewed 90 personnel in hotels. 60% of tourist staff members could estimate hotels level service and quality. 85% of managers said could estimate staff members' speed of reaction about problems. 70% of managers said could estimate hotel prices in comparison of other concurrent hotel prices, and 65% of managers would estimate hotels in terms of paying and technology. This is museums in Tbilisi and in Mestia. In totally, we interviewed 110 tourists, and this is tourists said would estimate the staff members' quality of proficiency. It's 98%. 99% good evaluation interior of museums, they like. Also, 91% would evaluate the exponents of museums, 95% would evaluate the cleannesses and sanitary conditions in the museum, and 97% is the found museum's destination. So, this is souvenir shops in Tbilisi and souvenir shops in Mestia. We interviewed 150 tourists, and this is the result. Wine shops in Kherson and wine shops in Tbilisi. We say that it's the same situation in Kherson wine shops and Tbilisi wine shops. We interviewed there 130 tourists. So, these conclusions and recommendations, our recommendations, identify problems that hinder the development of tourism. Tourist requirements were analyzed and adapted decisions. Tourism development hindrance in Tbilisi and Kherson region considered. Unqualified personnel in restaurant and other tourist facilities. Restaurant chain malfunctions, high prices, and low quality. Pollution levels in the capital streets, parks, tourist facilities, improper advertising of tourist destinations, and museums should be more actively promoted. Our recommendations. The low levels of service and high prices disturb the development of the tourist service in Tbilisi and Kakheti. So some 2-star hotels have the same prices as the 3 or 4-star hotels. It's important to protect cleanliness standards in restaurants and make special emphasis on the traditional dishes. It's better that souvenir shops have more traditional Georgian assortment and have good quality. Also, staff members should improve communicable skills and have quick service. A souvenir store for locals must have reasonable prices. Good PR of the Georgian wine company to export on the international market. Also, build parks and bicycle roads in Tbilisi and Kakheti regions, keeping the old style of the city. I think it's the main recommendation hour, and cleanness of the streets. So, tourism development hindrance in the region's quality must here considered. PR and advertising, lack of information about the tourist facilities, insufficiently developed tourist infrastructure, particularly in Peshkuri. Incorrectly promoted of historical and cultural potential, poor condition of historical monuments, inefficient use of unique natural areas, developed tourist transport information and guide service, also tourism and nature conservation of environmental problems, unqualified person, no food accommodation and other tourist facilities, and the main is language barriers and incomplete information given to tourists. Our recommendations: government should financially support to the family tourist business, which includes low percentage of the state. One, a local administration and the council should pay attention to the development of the family tourism. Overloading the region by the excess number of tourists will be a major cause of environmental pollution and can negatively influence on biodiversity. The government and population should take actions in time. And souvenir shops in Mestia should have more traditional things for this region, and products should have good quality. Staff members should improve communication skills, have quickly service, and a good knowledge of the foreign languages. So, thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to ask questions. I don't know what to.
Thank you very much. So I like it, so you don't. Because I'm ready. I like that you are very cool and sure, so it's really amazing. This is my point. I also like the style that you, as a group, you gave us the track. For the future, what I think, if we look to the recommendations in the future, I recommend you to, let's say, once more, to break up your suggestions. For example, if you speak of, we are satisfied with the quality of service in the hotel or in the restaurant. I don't know what I have to do if I'm an advisor. You know what? So what I would do in your position, if you say the service quality of the hotel, break it up. For example, you say, okay, service quality of the hotel. Now we go into the departments. So bar, what else? Restaurant, reception, and so on. So you should try to cluster it, yeah, to make it easier. Or another example, you don't say we don't go in the departments. You could do it to cluster it. You cluster it, for example, while thinking like this: pre-process, in-process, post-process. You know what I want to say? You have a lot of questions. You can't ask them 100 questions. It's too much. It's an overload. Yeah, but you should try to cluster the problems. And you shouldn't ask, are you satisfied with the quality? Because I tell you yes, and then you say, oh, nice, but you don't know what to do. So you break it and say, okay, now we are going into the restaurant, into the bar, in the housekeeping, in the room, in the bar, in the reception. And then you can give much more easier recommendations. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Well done.
Perhaps if you touch on this point, and that applies to all the presentations we've seen so far. Numbers we don't collect, or we don't do service for the sake of the survey or for the sake of the number. I used to have a professor when I was at the university that used to be very annoying. I hated this guy. Because whatever I did, he used to ask me this question. He used to ask me, so what? And this is something I think that you should always keep in the back of your head whenever you are doing surveys or whenever you are talking to people, getting impressions, qualitative, quantitative, it doesn't matter. Always ask yourself at the end, okay, if I get answers here, so what? What can I do with it? And I think that's the important point here. Imagine that you get the answers. What do you do? What can you do? And it's exactly what Wolfgang is saying. He's saying, well, are you happy with me? Yes. Great. We're all happy. Why? I don't know. As long as we're happy. Or, you know, so always keep in the back of your head the so what question.
I'm focusing on the same aspect. I think it would be necessary to, it's a rather explorative approach to choose here, to find out what is the potential, touristic potential, and where are things that have to be improved. That's, I think it's a good first question, but when you come to survey it, you have to break it down to rather focused question and clear defined criteria what you want to survey. So this, I missed that a little bit in your presentation. Then you can say a little bit more differentially what is wrong and what is good already. Maybe another recommendation coming to your presentation of the results. Maybe you put a slide on it again. Just one slide of the results. Yes, that's fine. Yes. I don't think this is a very good graphical. Yes. So no.
The diagram.
Not the recommendation. The results.
The pie chart.
The charts. The charts.
This.
Yes.
This one, yes. So you mix up the results of different questions, and the chart doesn't fit to the numbers you present there. That's confusing a little bit. So
choose another type of diagrams.
This separate the questions and show the results for each question separately. Okay, thank you very much.
Hello, dear guests. First of all, I'd like to thank you all of you to be a part of this marvelous project. It's a great honor for me. I'm Nutam Tazishvili. I'm a master's student. I'm from Georgia. I represent the Caucasus International University. I'm a master's student and my specialty is international marketing. Now I'm going to make a presentation about motivation study and social media marketing researches, its outcomes, results, and analysis. So, motivation study was held in July. In the process, 4 MBA students and 1 PhD student were involved. This survey was conducted in Tbilisi as well as in other regions of Georgia. All in all, 145 tourists were interviewed. What concerns the methodology, we used questionnaires. We had questionnaires, distributed questionnaires to tourists, and they filled them on their own. What concerns the social media marketing, this survey started in July, but is still in its process. It hasn't finished yet. We're still making a survey. 4 MBA students are involved in this process, including myself. So far we have researched 10 hotels, and in the near future we're going to research 10 restaurants as well as 10 museums. The destination was the same in this case, Tbilisi and other regions. We checked websites of those 10 hotels. We found out if they had Facebook pages, Twitters, and TripAdvisors. Next slide.